You are watching Rarely Reserved, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. I am Charles, also known as Omnus, and I am here with the epic, mostly healed back to full droid queen, Sin. How have you been?
Yes, they were hard at work on the cybernetics to fix my right half, but I am peak. It's all good.
Nice. I'm so glad you're doing better. I think it's funny that I've somehow managed to pick a co-host that actually wears more black than I do. So I appear to be the one that actually wears color. This is a weird development for me.
My hair is so colorful and my tattoos are so colorful. It's like I gotta pick an area to be nice and black.
That makes sense. I mean, black goes with everything. No disrespect. I do try to change up the shirts a little bit for the benefit of the show, so it is not. Oh, I don't look like I only wear black T-shirts, even though I only wear black T-shirts.
I am clearly making no such effort, but this has little faders on it.
I mean, it's your brand. No disrespect the brand. I just appreciate that I get to be the colorful one. It's new for me. So, but all right. Speaking of very colorful characters, I am stealing the puck from you this week, just because it's inspired by the bonus episode stuff, which we're going to talk about some in the next segment a little bit, because it ended up being quite cool. But thinking about your drawing got me thinking about Satine, and I'll explain why more in the bonus episode. But I wanted to steal and jump in and do Satine. And so, listeners, she's a character. I don't know if she's shown up in any comics or like other literature. She was featured a decent amount in the Clone Wars cartoon, and is Bo-Katan's sister, who was, I don't know if ruler of Mandalore is the correct phrasing, but she was in charge of Mandalore. But she's a pacifist. And so a very interesting shift for Mandalore during, the Clone Wars, where they are trying to be a peaceful, neutral planet and try to get away from the war and the death and stuff that they've caused for themselves over the years, which is super interesting. Also, very clearly, a love interest for Obi-Wan, which I'm all about. I don't know how much you have followed the story, but are you in the Obi and Satine 100% hooked up, or Obi stuck to his vows?
Oh, I am team they should have if they didn't. But such a better love story than Twilight.
Yeah, they definitely did. I have very little respect for anyone who thinks that Obi stuck to his deep religious path while they've been like on the run. It was like multiple years. There's no way they did not hook up. He was ready to like leave the Jedi Order for her. So I think they went there.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp. At least once.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he may have had some guilt about it afterwards, but he he definitely he was trained by Qui-Gon. Like there's some Jedi rebelliousness built into that relationship.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like Riz, but yes, that too.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely some Riz. But okay. But what are your thoughts? I mean, I'm a huge Mandalorian lover in general. I enjoy almost all Mandalorian stories, and so this like time where they're trying out peace and the stuff that she's dealing with on the planet during all of it, heading the neutral systems, I think she's super interesting. But you're not as hardcore Mando as I am, so I'm curious what your thoughts are.
She's probably the man, like, since I am not as into them as you're, the one that I like the most, and I don't know if that's okay. I don't know if that's like I just really like this. It's the specific story in the Clone Wars about her, and she really kind of isn't for me in the same vein as Padme, of like good person put in bad situations consistently. But is still like very optimistic. until like that people can be good and are worth saving. And so I have nothing but respect for her. And also, she caught the eye of Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's the lady Riz right there. She's respectable.
Also, the sass between her and Obi-Wan is fantastic. They have such like the phrase is all of a sudden escaping me, but the tension is what I want. Like they have that deep like lovers tension through all of their sassing each other. Oh, it's so good. Like might be actually the most well written um love story may not be the right word, but like one of the strongest like relationship stories in Star Wars.
Yeah, like there tends to be a problem with like one character in the love story is sassy and the other one's like, "Oh, you," but no, they're both just a couple little bitches to each other. That's like, "Oh, I see why you like her because
Yeah.
she gives just as good as she gets."
Yeah, a lot of appreciation there. And it's like it's an interesting contrast. I almost want to watch like one of the have you watched the episode where like Cad Bane is holding the senators hostage, but Padme has Anakin's lightsaber because they were getting into this kind of relationship dispute thing and he was like, "This is my life." And he like leaves it with her and now like they're invaded but she has his lightsaber.
I don't think so.
Okay. It would just be interesting to watch like that arc side by side with or like, back to back. But anyway, I think she's super cool. I love all of it. I would love a Satine character in Shatterpoint. I'm always for more Mandos.
Yeah, also getting to like if she's like she'd have to be a primary, but like having I think she's Duchess, I want to say, but
Yes.
like
Duchess Satine, you're totally right.
being able to be like I have the Duchess. My list is Duchess. I'd be so into it.
Yeah. It would be cool if she had like a random synergy with Obi-Wan, like she had hunker mechanics. So she's not like directly synergized with him, but the fact that he like lets her keep the hunker like something in there where like she accidentally like synergizes with Obi-Wan in a really cool way. That would be such a I could see AMG doing that.
Well, it would be. It's making my game development brain start thinking because it's like whatever it is, you'd want it to feel like two people who were on the run together for a long time. So something about
Yeah.
getting them near each other, or maybe like they get extra attack dice when they're near each other, or like if when one like my brain starts getting really romantic, but is like if you wound her anyone in Obi's squad gets to dash toward or something like
Yeah.
that. Like that would just I would be all over that.
See, I'm definitely in like I want something a little bit more subtle. I just want accidental synergies where you just realize they work together really well. Or maybe she does something like when a character hunkers, which would make sense because she's defensive, right? She's a pacifist. So it could be like when someone gains a hunker or lose a hunker, like her identity triggers something. Like that would be so cool because you're just like, oh my god, she like does really cool things with Obi. This is great. Like
Actually, no. I changed my mind. They are such sassy little ladies together. I
yeah.
think I want my Duchess to be anti Obi tech. I want her to remove hunkers. I want her to say, "Hunker, get out of here." Like I think that would be so good. Like you
Oh
lose a hunker,
man.
but I don't. I get rid of your hunker. I keep mine.
Oh man, that's super interesting. Yeah, I could go either way with that. But I'm glad we did Satine for the puck. But all right, let's get on to what we have been up to.
Well, oh wait,
Um,
one. I have one quick thing before we
of
move on.
course,
Speaking of wonderful people that I think could probably be a great Duchess, do you see this sign?
I do see the sign.
Lovely sign. I'm just going
Yeah.
to shout out Lex really quick. Thank you. You look how great it looks, and it's the best color. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Lex.
Yeah, it was definitely like it. I love nerd Tetris in general, no secret. But like figuring out like good spots for stuff and like changing around shelves and stuff. Like where was this gonna
You know
work?
what? Actually, yeah. One moment. Everyone, like you are probably just listening. Pause for one moment. appreciate the nerd treacherous.
Yeah, if you're, just after we did, it was like 2 weeks ago, right? Where I was like, you're doing something weird with the camera. What are you trying to accomplish? And you're like, I want the Grievuses. And I was like, oh, let's just change the organization so the Grievuses then are on each side of you. If that's your priority. I also changed things up. Like I wanted because I was noticing where I was framing stuff, I didn't like the top of the art that I got from Sarah Cruel. I didn't want that cut off. And I'm a big fan of this Marvel art on the other side of me. That's from a charity event um, that that I was a part of for quite a few years. That's run out of Mox. But anyway, I was like, let me bring those down a notch so it's easier for those to be in frame. But yeah, cool nerd Tetris. But besides setting up a cool sign, organizing awesome art behind you, what have you been up to Shatterpoint art wise? What's going on for Sid?
Well, sadly, even though I kind of said that I was better, I'm not actually better. I just have, they're pretty sure I don't need surgery, but there's like it's my rotator cuff. So I can't do a lot with my right side, and I have very limited mobility, and anything repetitive is painful. So playing and painting and assembling has been a bit off limits for me, which is I've experienced withdrawal. I started watching Twitch streams of other people building and painting models. That's where we're at. And normally I'm not someone who can really sit still long enough to watch anything. So the hobbying withdrawal is real. The game withdrawal is real. I tend like, this is gonna sound like I don't watch them. With the videos that you post of the games, I tend to like, oh, I was posted a video. I'm gonna wait until I have a good moment to like kind of put that next to me while I do whatever. I've just been watching them right when they come out, and I'm like, I need my fix. Someone else needs to do the Shatterpoint since I can't. The only Shatterpoint thing I've been able to do really, besides indulge myself with other wonderful creators' content, is make the image of you for the bonus episode. That is it.
Well, I wanted to set you up partially to kind of talk about this because this was your whole idea. We mentioned it a bit in the last episode. I'm right here with like Aubrey. There is a lot of I don't always remember exactly what I actually say in an episode because the longer you podcast, the more you are thinking about the upcoming episode and like the things that you want to go over or which order you want to do it in and which stuff you think is like relevant and which stuff to cut out. And so I think about it so much that in my memory, it's hard to separate like what I said versus what I thought about saying. But because we got out the video for your idea and it's been out there and people have gotten to see it, because even though it was meant as bonus content and it's going to be rewards for our patrons, the ones on the War Council, and maybe we'll do some sort of like random thing, like if we hit a lull or something, there could be a way for other patrons to get into, but we're going to definitely do it for all War Council. But this was your idea. So why don't you take a second to kind of talk about the idea and if you want to share anything about the art that you were doing for this.
Yes. So since the bonusodes are my baby, really, I have a lot more, I have a lot more freedom about what we like. I choose what we do basically. So I leave the meat and potatoes, as it were, the main episode to you, and I kind of, but
you run the bonus shit. Like you are in charge.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
And so I have been like, all right, I gotta bring some cool ideas. And so eventually I was like, oh, let's make some new Shatterpoint characters. And I was thinking about stuff that I liked, and that's been done and been done well by others. But I was like, you know what hasn't been done well? Me. I have not been made well into a Shatterpoint character, and the best way to get something done is to do it yourself. So I thought it would be great to make Omnus and I into Shatterpoint characters. And so I obviously paint a lot of miniatures, but my background, my college degree and everything is actually in regular 2D art. And so I thought it would be a great way to incorporate that of like, I make kind of the Shatterpoint slightly cartoonish style drawings of us as Star Wars people. I my drawing of myself, I'm doing Force lightning because I imagined myself as having Force lightning if I was in Star Wars. And so I would do these drawings. I did one for Omnus, and that's what we're going to do in today's bonus episode. And I'm really excited about it because I love how that one turned out. And so we're going to take these drawings where I'm just going to do whatever my brain decides that you might be, and then we'll take the drawing and give it a real Shatterpoint card, like abilities, tags, like health, squad points, the whole nine yards, a playable card, and based on the art. And hopefully, Omnis, you can put up a picture of little teaser of what we're going to be doing so people can kind of see what I'm talking about of mine and yours. And I just, the more I was doing it, the more excited I was about it. And I wasn't really sure until after we did the first episode how it would work and land. I wasn't sure if once we hit the make the card part, if it would be kind of grindy and weird, but it came so naturally and it was so fun. And I just love, like, as soon as we finished, I was like, where is the 3D designer making this character? Because I need her and I need to play this. So this is so fun. And so immediately it was like, all right, the War Council needs to be in on this, like, post haste, like this. Obviously, I want to have, like, I want to play Kevin. So yeah, so basically bonus episodes. Not every bonus episode because I am injured and the drawing does take me a significant amount of time. But hopefully, at the very least, the War Council will be getting their own custom Shatterpoint art and ability card. And like Omnis said, we'll probably do like a random person from the Discord every once in a while. If I have a like Shatterpoint epiphany and I'm like, this person, I have. As any artists, like as you all are, mostly of you miniature painters, understand. Sometimes you just get the idea and you're like, this has got to be a thing. So anyway, I feel like I talked for a sufficient amount of time about that. I'm excited.
Yeah, it could certainly be it's funny that you kind of made it like a reward for interacting in the Discord where you're like, if you talk so much that you end up inspiring Sin to do art, that could just be a thing that happens down the road. I will admit, at first I was nervous about it because I'm much more confident on my podcasting side of things. Video stuff, I'm a little bit more noobish on. And so, like, every step of the way, I'm like, what if we commit to doing this? And like, I just suck at the video side or something, right? And like, it just doesn't work. There was also like, how long is this going to take? And like, I forget exactly what moment it was, but I think it was just right before we were going to record where I think I just suggested, I'm like, what if we just restrict ourselves to one of each ability type? And I think that gave us just enough structure that it allowed us to hone in and do it in a reasonable time period. And I think that's a fun challenge also mentally where it's like, okay, they're going to have an active ability. They're going to have a reactive ability. They're going to have an identity, right? And you just go through all 5 abilities and I think that's fantastic. And it like wove in really nicely. And so, yeah, it ended up being more fun. I think the overall, like, editing for it worked out. I know we want to make sure that we have the tags show up when they're talked about and, like, the health and stuff show up when they're talked about, the durability, which was not something that we did in the first video. But the card transition ended up looking so cool that we definitely want to, like, have that for the whole way. But super fun. And, like, as much as I'm excited to get mine, I'm a little bit more like, I want to get through mine so that we can do the War Council ones.
I feel the same way because I'm like, it's in my brain. Yours is already done. Like, I thought about it and like, it's awesome and it exists and I love it. So I'm thinking ahead to like the next ones. And I have ideas. And I already kind of like made the decision for myself that sorry, I didn't ask you. But that I would, whoever's next council wise, I would reach out to them before I start drawing and be like, all right, do you have any like hard yeses or hard nos? You can't tell me exactly what you want because this is still up to me. But if it's like, it won't be me unless I have a double-ended lightsaber, or it will not be me if I have a blaster. So I'm accepting vetoes because I don't want anyone to be disappointed. That would crush me because I obviously put a lot of love and effort into these drawings. But I'm not, I do want them to be more how I think of them rather than how they think of themselves. Because I think that's just more fun. But I definitely don't want it to be a feel bad, like, oh, that's just not what that's just so far off. But yes, I think having it be more, at least as close as we can get to just what we think without it being upsetting, then I think that will be great, because I think it's fun to find out how other people see you, and so I've got some ideas percolating for our next up, and I think I've got an overall vision, which I'm really excited about, and it's now I'm thinking like stances, and that just means that I'm Googling a lot of karate poses from different movies with a lot of kung fu. Just like, yes, works nicely.
Yeah, so two parts here. So, because we're going to do my card as the bonus app. And we're actually making this public on YouTube for everyone. So anyone can see these. The one that was up for Creating Sin is up so people can watch it. And you'll be able to see the one for Omnus. This is more of like a reward for patrons, but we wanted to set kind of like a baseline expectation. The only change that I asked for on mine was I was like, you got to give me scruff. I feel like you did bald guy, which I appreciate. Got to rep the bald guy vibe. But I was like, I think it has to have scruff for me. I have spent so little of my life not actually shaving. I think when I was in my 20s, I shaved once because I started trimming my goatee at night at like 1 a.m. and like fucked it up. And so I had to shave. And so that was unpleasant. But then when I was doing cosplay for Captain America and I had to like shave, but like my face does not even handle shaving, because I have had shaved face so little my entire life that it just like I was just like some scruff would make it feel more ominous. But I really like that we're doing the not me like sculpting a character like, oh, I think I would have this and I would have like this blaster and like all of this stuff. But like I enjoy seeing your vision, your mental translation of nerd to Shatterpoint character. And yeah, so I'm excited about it. And I don't remember if I told you this or not, but after we recorded, as I was getting ready for bed that night and I like went to shower, I was just thinking about the person we picked for the first of the War Council. I don't want to spoil it, but I was just dojoing their character card the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and I had like this really like weird idea, and then I realized I'm like, I have no idea if the art is gonna match this idea, so I probably shouldn't go too deep into it. But anyway, big shout out to you. I think this is a super cool idea, and I know I was a little resistant at first because I'm just like sometimes going out of my comfort zone. It's not the easiest thing. I understand that about myself, but I was like, I think this is a good idea. And so let's try it. And I think you home run this shit. And so shout out to you.
Oh, yay. That makes me happy. I had some anxiety that I was like, I'm pushing my co-host a little bit on this. So if it burns, I'm going to lose so much cred, but it didn't. So I gained cred. What's up?
Yeah. I mean, there are times like, at this point I've been podcasting for like 15 years. And so there's always points where you like need to grow, you need to try new things, you need to challenge yourself. And but there's also this like you are a co-host that is like taking on a lot of interesting things yourself, right? Like you are doing art and such. And so like I appreciate so there's an element of this that's just not on me, which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Like, you're like, I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. She's doing stuff. Yay! I don't have to do as much.
Um yeah, I mean I think I'm still doing more than what I had intended for said bonus episode,
Yeah, I'm
but I
sorry.
but we are doing something special. But okay. But let's hit it back to some Shatterpoint stuff. I want to do a shout out. I got a cup specifically for podcasting.
That's amazing. I love
Um,
that.
yeah, so I just wanted to show that off. I was like, for some reason, I just hit this. I'm like, I need a podcasting cup, and I was like, yes, that's what I want. And it's not but it's a plastic cup. It's like a plastic beer size cup, so I'm not going to break it, which will be great because I would eventually knock it over at some point for sure. Um, we're going to talk about Galactic Legends stuff in the main topic, so I'm not going to talk about the what I've been up to part for that, but I did try out a weird list as well this week. I've been continuing my Mando, Bosk, Bazin, Chirrut plus stuff, which has been my journey the last couple of months. And God, I love that list. But sometimes I just got to like get outside of my zone a little bit. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, does Wrecker, this is part of why I'm wearing the Wrecker hoodie. And I was like, what primary do I think would be most interesting for running Wrecker and kind of leaning into the like, don't want to attack these characters. And and then I came around to Obi. And I was like, okay, I know that most of the time people are pretty resistant to running Obi outside of like Full Republic, where you get the maximum amount of his identity. But I was like, he still lets Mando and Bosk and Baze and Chirrut potentially hold on to hunker tokens. And Mando does hand out hunker tokens. So I was like, well, that's interesting. And Wrecker potentially does cool things in that list. He can hand out protection to everything on the Mando side of the list, which I think is interesting. And I'm like, let me give it a try. People are always really hesitant to play Obi outside of Full Republic things, but like maybe this could work. The thing that I was most thrown about is like, what support do I run? Um, do I lean towards something like 212th or the Commandos under Obi and like lean into his side of the things? Or do I run like Weequay and lean into like the steadfast, somewhat tanky plan side? Or do I go with Echo and Tech, which are kind of in the middle, where they kind of work with his stuff, but they are also scoundrels. So I played Echo and Tech for better or worse. And overall, but Oscar and I decided to play on First Contact, and so it was a very wild game. Um, every time I thought I could break the stalemate, I would whiff or I messed up positioning. And we played a significantly long game, so it was really kind of hard to gauge how much I liked the stuff. And I didn't end up feeling like Obi-Wan was particularly good. Now, there was definitely points where I felt like between Mando and Wrecker and Obi, there was just a lot of characters that my opponent didn't want to attack. And that part felt good. And so maybe it is still a thing that was worth exploring, but it didn't immediately jump out to me like, oh, I'm really onto something, but that might have just been First Contact, to be entirely honest. And so you're torn. I'm always looking for that like vibe when I'm playing something. Like this list has Riz. That's for you, Donovan. And that like makes me go, yeah, I need to dig into this more. Like I definitely want to try Mother more. But this was just an idea that crossed my mind. I'm always excited to play Obi, and to do something kind of interesting with him. So it may be still something I would explore, but it didn't like hit immediately. Do you have any questions or thoughts on anything that I said so far?
I like that. I like putting Obi into something non-traditional. That's that I as you were talking about it, I was like, I'd really like to play against this. That sounds like kind of refreshing and interesting. I
We can arrange that.
I know a guy. So yeah, I think that's a list I think it would be fun to play against. Also, you said Echo and Tech for better or for worse. I think that you could make that into a t-shirt. That just sounds like them. I don't know.
Totally fair. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it didn't. I know I like often talk up some like off meta stuff, and so I just also got to be honest when I'm like playing something and I'm not immediately like feeling that thing. There might still be something there, and I'm not opposed to it, and maybe like Echo and Tech should change up, but. It was an interesting list and definitely something that's going to be like on my short list of things to try again in another situation.
I dig it.
Um but yeah, we also played some other stuff, but we're gonna kind of get into that in the next part. I'd been waiting for my new brushes to arrive, which are on the table now. So my painting, I'm gonna dial up a little bit here very soon. But yeah, honestly, my projects have been the YouTube channel. Like also now doing some list focus, which the first two are with Pure. And then I may be recording a couple more tomorrow. But just these like short, 15 to 20 minute videos, like kind of focusing on like one specific, like a two squad strike team and kind of like talking about it a little bit and just kind of see where that goes and maybe create a little library of lists and stuff for people to try. So that's been one of my projects.
Yeah, I haven't. I've been crazy busy and haven't. I even had a chance to say anything to you about it really, but like mad respect. You've been like putting out good content, like a lot. So like, wow, A plus, like doing great.
Yeah, I try to keep myself always busy. I just if I have time and there isn't something to do in that time, I try to fill it. But let's go ahead and move forward into the main topic. We want to talk about Galactic Legends a bit because our first like real talk about it was actually with the AMG staff. I'm like, I gotta give this a try. I love these guys. Let's kind of see how it all plays out. I do tend to be like, I want to play the main format, but there is this search for some of the other stuff to do. And so really wanted to experiment with this. So I wanted to ask you, like, what were your initial thoughts when we first started talking about Galactic Legends, like with the staff, and we started talking about doing our first game? What was your initial vibe?
Initial vibes. I was like, oh, format I can play with Charles and Lex. Bet I'm all over it. And also a format that I can play that kind of encourages me to do a extremely unique version of a model. Absolutely. And then also one that encourages a little bit of a special hobby project in terms of terrain. So before I even thought about what might the rules be, I was in. So it was an easy sell. But I yeah, I did not need a lot of encouragement to try it out, just for sure.
Yeah, I mean, on my side, like obviously I tried versions of this with MCP, and there was like some that I really liked, some that I didn't care for, but like often like when you and me and Lex are hanging out, or like me, Ryan and Donovan are hanging out, like sometimes we do actually just need something that's like a three-person thing. And so I was excited about something that could potentially fit in for that. And so it was going to be interesting. Shout out to Lex who printed out all of the stuff for us. I do not have a 2D printer. Thank you, Aubrey. And so we got to try it out. So first off, you get to build. So brief explanation for a listener if you have not played it. One player who's going to play the Galactic Legends character is going to play either Asajj, Darth Maul, Anakin, or Ahsoka. And then when you're playing them, you get two minions They are individual characters. They're usually intended to be represented by support models, but they are not one unit. They are separate kind of individual characters. They're kind of they feel like support plus. They're not quite secondary strong, but it's kind of like you have two models that are maybe slightly stronger than your average support, but they are totally separate. And then you're playing against two cadre players. Each cadre consists of two secondaries and two supports. One mission needs to total up to 16 points each. The other mission is 17 points each. But so you end up like facing off against four secondaries and four supports. So with that in mind, then like the missions have slightly different objectives. Usually the cadre players are playing for some sort of like scenario win, where their goal is to, in one mission, it is to destroy 3 shield generators. In the other mission, it is to basically control certain objectives a total of 15 times. And for the Galactic Legend, your goal is kill shit. Like pretty straight up. Like you wanna slow them down. That's like a sub goal. You don't want them to win too fast because you need enough time to get enough kills. So there are times where that's part of your objective. But in general, you're like, hey, I got lightsabers. My job, kill some supports and secondaries. But kicking it over to you, Sin, what I wanted to ask first off, what was it like building the lists? I know list building is not like your favorite thing, but how was this part of the process for you?
I enjoyed how it was a positive collaboration because Lex and I got to discuss together what the two of us would be interested in playing as a like cohesive group, and that I really liked. And also, it was fun thinking about uh, thinking more. I fall victim a little bit. I would say this is one of my big weaknesses in list building. I think about the primary and I think about the supports, and the secondary is like the of whatever thing that I fill in at the end. That's my problem. So this was really nice because it made me think about the secondaries first, and pay more attention to them. And so I liked that. And then when we ended up playing, we did the second time we did Oops All Clones, which was so fun. And so I liked the list building as the cadre as I like that you could synergize together. And I think it would not have been nearly as fun if it was like, well, you're playing together, but there's no crossing of anything. The fact that I can think about so much synergy between that many different characters is really fun and exciting. And it's just I always think that I've said this definitely on the cast before, that I think supports are the most important part of a list. So playing a game that's like really support focused, I'm like, yes, this is their time to shine. They're doing it.
Yeah, so I've played Galactic Legend in all of the games that we've played so far. I am the big bad for people to take down. That is canon. But I will say, from like the outside looking in on it, it does seem really cool. I would definitely be excited about any new list building where like, hey, I just get 2 supports and if you've never played it before, both of the cadre player counts as allies for each other. So you get access to each other's coordinated fires. You get access to each other's stuff like fixer dice or stormtrooper sergeant adding dice, all those sort of things. Crisscross, like Callus could give rerolls to the other side. There's some cool things that you could build in. And I would be excited about just that like concept in general. So I think that is very cool. I will say, for building and like as someone who's played the Galactic Legend, I think the supports and the secondaries that get access to protection, because a lot of time the Galactic Legend is not one-shotting people. And so I feel like protection just always feels really valuable because a lot of time it is 2 or 3 total attacks creating a wound. So healing and protection end up being a really valuable tool for the cadre players. Um, Speaking from the Galactic Legends side, building uh, you are not building any sort of list. The only character who has a choice is Ahsoka can bring either 2 Mandos or 2 clones. When I tried her out, I I ended up playing her with the Mandos, which I will say that felt very good. By comparison to the other ones, the Mandos are my favorite minions, better than Maul's Mandos, and I've not played Anakin's, and I've not played the clones, but it would also felt better than Asajj's droids. But I think there's also a value. The clones and the droids are range 5, and that does matter. Um, but I want to kick it back over to you. So you've played twice on the uninvited guests, as I believe the name of the one with the shield generators. What did you think of this mission overall?
Um, I I like that when we did it the second time, we replaced the generators with actual pieces of terrain that you made, and we were able to like physically remove those from play. I think that was really fun. I don't know. Like now that I've played it a couple times, I don't know if I would spend quite as much time even bothering with the objectives on the sides. Mostly because my dice luck is apparently awful, and even when we had all six, I didn't roll any expertise, so it was like I worked so hard for that and nothing. I could have just bonked a generator, so that like, but that's more of a gripe with my own dice than anything. So, but generically, I like the mission. I think it is a bit of a dance. One issue Lex and I ran into was um, the first time we were a little too focused on the generator, and so we all just sat next to it in like a tight little circle, beating the heck out of it. And then Asajj came over and I was like, "Oh, I could just you're all right next to each other. I could just hit you all immediately." And so we were like, "Oh, we cannot all be within range 2 of each other." That was really dumb, but and then the next one when we spread out, we were doing a lot better. I think thinking about it more strategically. I think that there's a lot of fun decision making to be had, and I at least enjoy collaborative type games. So having someone next to me and be like, what do you think about this? Was really fun. We weren't always doing the most tactically advantageous thing. Like Lex and I we were like, we're gonna forget which one of us, because it's like the way that it goes is like 2 cadre players go, and then the legend goes and does their minions, and then the cadre players go again, both in turn. So it's not like cadre legend, cadre legend. So we were like, we're gonna forget immediately which one of us went. So we did it in order rather than doing what was maybe more advantageous. So I think we could have been more strategic about it, but even not doing that and just kind of keeping it light, it was still very fun and made other strategic decisions because we were doing it that way. So I definitely had fun with that, and kind of you know getting to play a much bigger game with a lot. Like I obviously come from Warhammer, where one of my Warhammer lists has over 100 models in it, and so I do like dealing with a lot of little plastic men. So like having more to think about was actually super fun and nice. I was like, oh, like look how much of a strategic impression we're making on the board. It's like, look at all, like, I don't know. I really liked that. I as much as I will say I do prefer the small skirmish style games now, it was nice to have a few more little dudes that I could worry about.
Yeah, overall, I think I agree with everything that you said there. I will say, like, I definitely want to try the cadre side at some point. And I agree. I know that like technically if we make physical objectives, right, then you can't stand on them. But overall, I don't think we care that much about like the pure mechanics that we can't. But basically, I used little antenna structures for the outer objectives, which are only like slightly larger than the normal tokens, and then used the the dish sort of thing from the core set, and I had three of those set up in the middle. And that was definitely cool. I would definitely like to lean towards that stuff because I think it's fun not having to use the control tokens in this particular sense. Um, so I think there is definitely room to do something creative terrain wise for Galactic Legends. Um, so from my perspective, I've played one game with Darth Maul, one game with Asajj, and one game with Ahsoka. I've played the Uninvited Guest twice, and then I played the other mission once, which I'm forgetting what the name of it is off the top of my head. Um, so here's some of my initial thoughts. So, strategy advice for playing Maul. I feel like with Maul, it's really kind of important to utilize his. So, the order deck for the Galactic Legend is a little bit different. It is 7 cards that are unique to him. They have special abilities on them, Force Refresh, and then a kind of like a super ability that triggers kind of like once per shuffle. And then you have one Shatterpoint card in there, and you basically draw 2, and then you get to decide which one of them you're going to utilize. If you draw 1 plus the Shatterpoint, you have to use that particular card, but you get the super bonus ability, like the Shatterpoint card activates that. So I'd say with Darth Maul, it felt like the most important thing was utilizing his cards that gave him an extra attack action and trying your best to like utilize that to just make more attacks. Asajj was the first one I played, and I felt like I could have definitely done a better job. Looking back, I wanted to use her force choke to try to finish characters off, where it's like, okay, I hit you, now you're low on health, and so I left you at 1, so I'll force choke you to finish you off. I think the way she's meant to be played is that she wants to force choke first because she can strain them from the force choke, and then that turns on her rerolls. And so I think that's probably why I struggled with her so much, is that I think she was designed to force choke more preemptively, and I was trying to like be a little bit more min-maxy, and I didn't feel like I was hitting key numbers with her. Ahsoka just straight up fends force for rerolls, and she has more cards that kind of like enhance her minions. Overall, I would say that Ahsoka was definitely the strongest of the ones that I played. She felt like she was hitting numbers much more consistently. But she also feels like she could be the one that's easiest for people to run away from. Um, but basically, what I would say is if you're playing and you're kind of like leaning towards core set stuff, not very many models, you definitely don't feel like the people across from you are leaning towards like making a really like super cohesive, where they're just like both playing just some models that they wanted to play. I think Darth Maul is probably the most manageable one. Asajj felt kind of right in the middle. Ahsoka would be the one if you feel like you're playing against people who are gonna like put together something like really tight and controlled. I think I would definitely make them play Ahsoka, and I'd like to try Anakin again soon. I would say pacing wise, I think the Uninvited Guest, where you're taking down the shield generators, that one. Well, to be entirely honest with you, the pacing might be very similar for both of them. But I just felt like Ahsoka could win just a little bit faster, and so she could kind of speed up that game. So if you're kind of wanting it to drag on just a little bit, Ahsoka might not be the first choice for it. She seems to have more potential to kind of wrap things early. But overall, I will admit, early on, I was not enjoying my first couple of games as the Galactic Legend. I didn't feel like I was in it. I didn't know how much of that was my understanding of the rules, specific dice luck. Like, Jesus Christ, Sin, your 501st lived through literally a gajillion attacks. It was nuts. I don't know what you did to your 501st, but they had next level armor.
Yeah, I have no words for them. Like I was like, what episode of Clone Wars is this where you guys will just not go down? Like it was I think that they survived three different, not like three attacks, but like three rounds of you attacking them with multiple minions and your main baddie. And I was like, they are they're living the dream. Like these aren't the unnamed clones in the background of the episode that are going to die. These are named buddy. Like I need to honor them somehow. They earned their stripes. Like these guys, right? They not only were they just not dying, they were unloading consistent damage into the generators because their tree is actually pretty good for that game. That was probably my biggest learning takeaway as the cadre player. The tree kind of matters a lot, a lot more than it does normally when you play because of how doing damage to the generator is based on what you hit on the stance card. And so, like, my 212th were not a great choice because they have a very linear short path. But the 501st have a nice tree, and so they're like, yes, Captain, we will live against droids and we will smash generators. What do you want? We're up for it.
Yeah, that's your 501st were always doing great work into the generator. And just to explain that mechanic real quick, if the next damage slot on the generator says damage or shove, and your first slot on your attack roll is a condition, that spot does literally nothing. And you basically have to go down your tree until you hit something that has a damage or a shove. And like one of the things that you ran into was you'd hit the spot where you needed a condition, and you had a lot of like damage shove models. And there were some times where you were just held up where it was like, all right, I have to go 3 down before I hit this condition or whatever. And so the characters that have like some strong variety really end up doing well there. But I think they use that in key operations as well. I haven't actually tried key operations, but I heard that it's comes from that. But I really liked that particular mechanic. I thought that way of handling the armored target was very interesting, and I thought that that was a fun thing. And like it makes you look at stance cards differently as well, which I thought was cool. So yeah, I definitely want to design some more terrain and stuff for it. I definitely want to give it a go. I definitely want to try Anakin again, and then like potentially try them in the other missions and switch it up. So yeah, overall very interesting, and I'm looking forward to trying it again. And yes, Ahsoka and her Mandos are awesome. I love them.
I mean, we could say that to open every episode.
You're definitely not wrong there. But all right, well, that's kind of what we wanted to go over. We're in this kind of lull time period as we're preparing for like what's going to come next year. And I definitely think if you just hit a spot where there's 3 people, I think try Galactic Legends. Have the stuff printed out. It's a very interesting palette cleanser, and I think once you kind of get the rules down, it could just be a nice drinking game, or filling in when you're just like you have an odd number of people. And I'd like to see where this goes. It sounds like they're going to design more missions and more Galactic Legends, so it'd probably be a good idea just to get some baseline rules down. Do you have any wrap up thoughts on the Galactic Legends? Oh, Sin, Droid Queen of Droid Queens.
Um, the only one, if you're going to try it, is Aubrey was absolutely right about print everything out and then have the like plastic protectors, but like put one of the old, like, we're not old, but put one of the foreign language cards behind it so that it has like the texture to it. That was yeah, I think Omnus did that for them after Lex printed them out, and that like it's just one of those like little minor things that makes it like feel like, since obviously they made them free rules, we didn't have to like buy a box set for it. Just having the putting those extra old Shatterpoint cards in there on top of them made it feel more real, which like added to the experience. I'm like, I have real cards that like I don't know. That would be my little yes. Yes, Aubrey, you were correct. Good call out.
Well, let's be careful. We've shouted out Aubrey twice now in this episode. We got to draw a line somewhere before we glaze Aubrey too much. Um, But let's get to kind of closing things out. So we've got Satine and whether Satine is rarely reserved. What are your thoughts there?
That's I no one can argue about that. I feel like I can say a bunch of obvious stuff like rarely reserved. Like I she's rarely reserved unless no, there's no unless. She's rarely reserved. Absolutely stamp.
Oh, see, I'm on the opposite side for Satine. I think she's commonly reserved because she's all about. I mean, she sasses Obi-Wan. So I feel like if we're specifically talking about her relationship with Obi-Wan, then she is rarely reserved. But I feel
No.
like the rest of the time that she's all about holding back. She's about holding back the violence, checking, and yeah, I don't know. I,
Okay.
mean, I get what you're saying.
Actually, I think we're on the exact same page in interpreting things differently because I think it would be incredibly easy for her to be reserved in her position and be like, "Oh, the tides are turning towards war. I guess I should turn towards war too. It's difficult. I'm being attempted like people are trying to assassinate me because I don't want to do what they say." And she's like, "No, get bent. I'm not going to be quiet about what I believe in. I am rarely reserved when it comes to what I believe in, and I believe in peace. So I don't want to say that being an advocate for peace means you're reserved. No, that's the opposite of reserved. That is being loud as heck. I'd be like, no, I stand for this, and I respect her because she's vocal about what she stands for.
Interesting. I see where you're throwing down. Does that sway my position of feeling like she is indeed? I mean, if we're talking about the relationship with Obi, I'm 100% on board that she is not rarely reserved, or she is rarely reserved. Um,
I
yeah, I
just
think.
I think we're opposite on this because I think she is reserved with Opie because like they're like she's hiding her feelings about it behind a whole lot of sass, and that's reserved to me. And so I think we're just interpreting the same signals so differently right now, and I love it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Where you're like, she wants to say more to Obi, and so she's holding back. And I like, okay, I think you swayed me on that one. Where I do think deep down she wants to say so much more, and that sass is a defense mechanism. So I'll say you 100% swayed me on that, but that puts me in the camp that she's. I'm totally away from the rarely reserved. I'm on the very the very reserved side of the spectrum for her. Um yeah, but that's interesting. But yeah, I mean that she's a divisive character. I think a lot of respect there. So I like Satine a lot. I'm glad we got to talk about her, and we don't know what kind of reserved she is. So why don't you tell us in the Discord what kind of reserved she is, and we'll close things out there. Later, nerds.
Com signal lost.